What is going on, everybody? This is 86 here, back with some more Diablo 4. And in this video, I'm just going to go over the Rabies Tornado build I've been playing, kind of working on, messing around with. It's utilizing aspect of the rabid bear, which is an aspect that gives you the duration. Oh, wait, that's not it. Where is it? While Grizzly Rage is active, skills that critically strike apply rabies, and your poison damage is increased by 108%. So I've been trying to figure out different ways to be able to use this aspect, and I was playing with it on a werebear druid for a while using pulverize, but I wasn't really enjoying that playstyle too much, and you don't really seem to get that many rabies procs off, as whereas in tornado hits a lot more often, and you kind of feel like you get a lot more procs of rabies kind of flying everywhere. The main thing that you do is you just start your grizzly rage as soon as you go into the dungeon or area, and then with different aspects, pretty much every time you crit, not only do you apply rabies, but you increase the duration of grizzly rage as well. So you can pretty much keep Grizzly Rage up the entire time, and you can just kind of run around throwing out tornadoes and just using your buff skills when they're off cooldown, and that's pretty much all you really have to do. I'm still working on figuring out some things for the build, trying to work out how to get as much damage out of it as possible. I don't even know if it'll be able to go into tier 3 or tier 4. I'm pretty sure it could do tier 3, but I think tier 4 might be a problem. It is getting a lot of buffs with the upcoming balance patch, though, on Tuesday, I think. Rabies is getting a buff. Aspect of the Rabid Bear is getting a buff. And Tornado's getting a buff. I don't know if there was anything else getting a buff, but there's a lot of things that are getting a buff for this build, so it'll probably go... I think rabies damage is almost doubling, which should be really good. That should help this build out quite a bit. And then aspect of the rabid bear was getting like a 30% increase, I think, something like that. And then tornado is getting a nice multiplier added onto the storm chaser aspect. So all those together should push this build pretty good. It might be able to handle tier 4s at that point. I mean, it's not at the level of Spiritborn. I don't think there's a lot of stuff that can actually compete with Spiritborn at the moment, but I feel like if you want to play any other classes right now, you kind of just got to act like the Spiritborn doesn't really exist, at least competitive wise. I'll go over the other aspects as soon as I finish this pit real quick. I just kind of wanted to show off what the build actually does. So yeah, that's really all you got to do, though, is throw out tornadoes. And then I don't know if you guys can tell, but there is rabies spreading throughout the enemies as well, poisoning everybody. We're not doing that much damage, though. Doesn't seem like it. It's hard to tell when the actual poison is doing damage. I wish it would turn like the health bars green if it was doing poison damage or something, so you kind of tell a little bit more, but... yeah, I think that's poison damage there when the health bar of the enemy kind of goes darker like that. Kind of go over the rest of the gear. What I feel like is kind of mandatory is the helmet. Tempest Roar is pretty mandatory, because you want Tornado to become a werewolf skill, so without that, you can't really utilize this Tornado for the build, so you kind of really want that. I think a lot of these, there's like quite a few things that are kind of mandatory for this build. It's Kind of takes a lot of pieces to get it to function. Okay, we got that down. We got a unique there. Let's try to level up this glyph. One more. Oh, we got that one. Nice. We only have to get one more up to legendary. Okay. Well, that's good. We got that done. I'll go over the gear and the aspects real fast. None of this is set in stone. This is still kind of proof of concept, just kind of figuring things out, testing things out. I haven't really seen much online for a build like this, so this is kind of something new. I don't really know what's going to work and what's not going to. So of course, aspect of the rabid bear is really important because you want that to be able to apply rabies on crit while you're in grizzly rage. The dire wolf's aspect. This is grizzly rage is now a werewolf skill and shapeshifts you into a dire werewolf and gives you movement speed and spirit cost reduction. So this is pretty important because you want grizzly rage to affect your werewolf form. And then the duration of grizzly rage is increased by 8 seconds. In addition, critical strikes with grizzly rage is active. Increase your critical strike damage by 10% for the duration up to a maximum of 200%. It's really good. You know, a lot of damage there. And then I'm trying out the changeling depth aspect. This is just a nice multiplier while hitting a poisoned or a crowd control enemy as a werewolf. So we're pretty much crowd controlling enemies pretty often. So I feel like this multiplier has helped quite a bit. This one's kind of interchangeable. You could try or test different things out. Debilitating roar is now a werewolf skill. This one's pretty important because we do utilize debilitating roar. And it also immobilizes poison enemies, which is pretty nice. So you do get crowd control with that. I'm just using this one on the pants because it's another multiplier and it pulls enemies towards you. So it's just the only real multiplier, damage multiplier I could find on pants. And then Storm Chaser for your tornadoes to actually seek out enemies. Mad Wolf's Glee. This one I don't know if it's necessarily essential. It does give a lot of levels to your werewolf skills, so that's always a plus. Plus 6 levels can be plus 7 if you got it maxed with a good roll. So that's pretty good. Not really mandatory, but it's definitely very powerful and it's got good stats. So I mean, this could be interchanged, I think. And then Tempest Roar, pretty important because your storm skills are now werewolf skills. That's pretty much the only thing you really need off that. Honestly, wish we didn't have to use this. I kind of hate that the druid helmets are kind of mandatory for the shape-shifting builds. I really wish that they would change that because I would like to use Andario's Visage on this build, but I can't do that. So I think that's Ring of the Starless guys. I don't feel like that's mandatory, but it's definitely a good addition if you have it. That's kind of it for right now. I'm not going to really go over to too much else at the moment. Just because I'm still figuring a lot of things out, testing things, seeing what works. I do feel like this build should get quite a bit stronger once they buff things. Should go up quite a bit. Pretty much everything to this build is actually getting a buff. So I think that'll be nice. You can also, like I said, do a wereberry version utilizing either pulverize or landslide. I did a video on that as well. I don't feel like the damage was as good on that one. I was kind of struggling to even get into tier 2 with that version. But you can definitely do it in in-game and clear tier 1s. But then for our skills, core skill, you want to put points in tornado. 1 point blood howl, 1 point debilitating roar. Rabies, max that out and take the savage rabies. Getting the werewolf passives. I want to take grizzly rage, max that up, and then get the additional passives for that. Taking lupine ferocity for pretty much guaranteed crit every third hit, so that's really nice, and some nice bonus damage. And Paragon, I'm not going to go over that because I don't know if this is going to stay the way it is yet. So that's just what I'm playing. It should be buffed quite a bit here in a few days, so I'm just going to keep pushing it until then, and hopefully it'll be a pretty nice increase in damage then, and maybe I think I can do tier 3 now, but I don't think I could do tier 4, so hopefully that'll push this build into tier 4. And I'm just gonna keep working on getting upgrades in gear. Need to get, you know, some ancestral totem. I gotta get like one, two, like 4 more ancestral pieces still. So still working on gearing out. Still have some upgrades, and just gonna do that, and still kind of testing out different rune words. Still just testing out a bunch of different things. That's kind of what I enjoy doing more than anything in ARPGs, is kind of just theory crafting and testing thing out. I always enjoy that more than like the late in-game push anyway, so I'm just going to continue to do that since that's what I enjoy. And working on this build and trying out some other things. Once the buffs come, should be nice to actually test out some other things as well. I like it when, you know, things get buffed and fixed and changed. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. It's 86. Have a good one. Peace.